handling mouse operations. In general, you will use mouse and you will use keyboard in your daily life. With the help of mouse and keyboard, you will perform certain operations. Then, what are all the mouse operations which we will be performing? If you see here, mouse over, right click, double click, drag and drop, slider, scrolling the page, scrolling page, or different type of mouse operations. Even I can say double click. And what about keyboard actions? In general, you will use Control A in the keyboard, Control C in the keyboard, Control plus C, Control plus A, and you will press Tab. You will press Control V for pasting, etc. These are the common keyboard actions, and these are all the common mouse operations which you will perform in your daily life. Yes. Why we need to use here? The thing is, suppose if there is any element in any website, if it is in the middle of the page or at the end of the page, definitely you need to scroll that particular page. So until unless you scroll, you will not be able to find that element. In the same way, with the help of automation script, if you want to perform anything on that particular element, it should be visible. So to get that element to be visible, we use scrolling page. Similarly, sometimes we mouse hover. Even though that element is present in that particular page, when you open, you need to move the mouse upon to that particular element. Nothing but mouse hovering. There may be situations you need to right click, you need to double click, you need to use drag and drop, you need to drag in one source and you need to put it into target place. So these are all general mouse operations and keyboard operations which we will do in our daily life. Yes, very important. Then, how you can handle these mouse operations in the automation script? We have action chains class. Very important interview question. How you can handle mouse and keyboard actions? By using action chains class. Mouse and keyboard operations. With the help of action chains class, you will be able to handle mouse and keyboard actions. Very important. Then, how you can handle mouse operations? We will see one by one. So in the actions chains class, for handling mouse over, we have move to element method. And mouse over is nothing but you are moving your mouse. Where you are moving? Up to that element. And in this particular method, with the help of action chains class, you need to specify that element. Similarly, for right clicking, yes, if you right click on this particular page, it will open all the options. In the similar way, wherever you are performing automation script or wherever you want to do any operations on any element, suppose there may be a scenario that you want to right click. Then to handle that right click, in the action chains class, we have context click method. And for that context click, anyway, you will perform all these actions on an element at the end of the day. So you need to specify that element as an argument. You need to by heart this. For moving to element, nothing but mouse over, you will use move to element. For right clicking, you will use context click. For double clicking, you will use double click. Right click, double click. Right, for right click, you have context click. You should not be confused. For double click, you have double click method. And for every method in the action chains class, you need to pass that element as an argument. I mean, on which element you want to perform mouse operations. You need to perform mouse actions. So that element you need to pass as an argument to each and every method in the action chains class. Again, I am repeating. For mouse over, you will use move to element. You should by heart this. Very important, you should by heart this along with the syntax. For each and every method, you need to pass that element which you want to perform as an argument. For right clicking, you need to use context click. Right click, context click, RC. You should not be confused. There are many people who confuse between right click and double click. For right click, you use context clicks. You can try to by heart in this way, or you can remember in this way, RC. In the Selenium suite, in the Selenium family, we have RC, Selenium RC, nothing but remote control. You can by heart in that way. Right click, context click. Most of the people will confuse here between double. For the double click, they will try to say context click like that. Don't confuse. Then for the double click, you will use double click method in the action change class. Very important. Without this, you will not expect interview to be closed. Another important mouse operations. Drag and drop. Drag and drop. You will drag and you will drop in target place. You need to drag a particular element from source and you need to put it into a target place. Similarly, slider, it is also a drag and drop function or operation, but you need to provide the offset. I mean, you need to provide how much distance I need to drag and I need to stop, nothing but dropping. This is nothing but slider. Yes, you will understand all this with the help of examples, don't worry. Scrolling page, you will scroll page like this. Yes, how much amount of pixels I need to scroll, and I don't want pixels to be scrolled. I want until the element is visible. I want to be scrolled. My mouse automatically with the help of automation script. So these are all the actions or the operations which you can perform as a part of automation script. Mouse operations, these are. We will discuss one by one. Go to PyCharm, create a directory of day30. In the day30, create a Python file of mouse hover. First mouse operation is mouse hover. And this is the website which I will be using for demo. And similarly, you can apply the same operation on any element. eBay. In the eBay, you have electronics. Yes. Once this website has been launched, you need to tell your mouse move to this electronics text. And if you see under this electronic text, you have Apple link here. Or electronics is also a link, and under these particular electronic links, there are categories. So in these categories, you are having Apple here. So my requirement is when I open this particular web page, my mouse should automatically mouse over to this particular electronics button, and again it needs to mouse over to this Apple button, or I can say link, and it has to perform click action on this particular link. Upon clicking, it should land onto this particular page. This is what my requirement is. Yes, how I can do with the help of action change class, mouse overing. So go to here, and for every script, basic things are common. Importing WebDriver by desired capabilities and driver.get. Before that, you need to initialize a driver variable. These are all we have discussed at the very beginning. And maximizing window after. If there is any synchronization problem, you need to handle that by using waits. Not only implicit wait, you can also use explicit waits as well. Here comes the real picture. In order to handle mouse operations, definitely you need action change class. In the Selenium package, you have WebDriver module. In the WebDriver, you are having action change class. You need to import that. Very important. For handling mouse and keyboard operations, you need to import action change class. And for handling keyboard actions, you need to use keys as well, because you need to press the keys. We'll be discussing later. And once this particular web page is opened, I want my mouse to be scrolled to electronics link, thereafter Apple link. So Before moving, I need to identify this particular electronics and Apple links, right? So let me inspect this. If you can see here, go here and you can see this is what the link is, or you can say this is what the link is, and it is having link text, so I can use directly link text. And the other thing is, in the electronics, when I mouse hovered here, it highlighted another options with the help of categories. In the categories, I'm having Apple, so you can inspect this. If you can see, this is what the link text of this that particular button which is there in the electronics, nothing but a link. Always on a button and a link will perform click action. Yes, before this, I need to identify this particular element before performing mouse over, right? Yes, I have identified that element. I have already written the text path here. You can see it here. Electronics is a link which is having a link text of electronics, and it is a link. So this is the X path of that. Similarly, Apple. So these are all the basic things which you already know. I have directly written here. That's it. And here comes the real picture. Before performing mouse overing or mouse actions, definitely you need to initialize action change class. Up to now, driver by itself cannot move. You should make driver to move. How I can make driver to move? Yes, hey driver, you do actions with the help of actions change class. You do actions, whatever I say. You mouse over, you right click, you double click. These are all the actions which you need to perform with the help of action change class. That's what I'm trying to say to my driver. So once you declare this for action change, you pass the driver as a parameter. Just you assign it to a variable like act. Now, as we discussed, for mouse overing, you need to use move to element method in the action change class. So once you initialize actions variable, then with the help of that actions variable, we'll perform all the actions. Act dot move to element. Move to element is nothing but mouse hovering. Yes, where I want to move. First, you need to move to electronics link. Thereafter, you need to move to Apple link, right? That's what we are doing here. You need to open this particular web page. Then you need to scroll to electronics button. You need to scroll to Apple link, and after electronics link. So that's what we have defined here. First, you need to move to electronics link. Then you need to move to Apple link. Then at last, you need to use, after moving to this Apple link, you need to perform click action. That's what my requirement is. And for every action change class, you need to say, hey, you perform these actions. So for performing these actions, you need to say actions change class that perform. These are the things which I want to do. I'm just saying the actions change variable, which is actions change class, you just perform these actions. That's what I'm saying. With the help of actions change class, you will perform all the mouse operations. You will see it here right now. Let me right click and execute. Yes, it has moved automatically and it has clicked the particular Apple link and it has landed onto this particular page. Yes, we have achieved mouse over operation with the help of actions change class. Very important, very easy. You just initialize an actions variable. With the help of actions variable, you will perform all the actions. Very easy. Then another important mouse operation is right click. So this is a demo website which I have taken. In this particular demo website, you can see this is the button which I want to right click. So what it is saying, right click me, not left click. You need to mouse over here and you need to perform right click action, right? So what you can do, upon right clicking, it will try to highlight all the options. This is what we need to simulate with the help of automation script. Yes, what I will do after opening this particular website, For every actions, nothing but mouse operations, you need to import action change class. So this is what mouse over, and thereafter you can initialize or you can issue driver dot close command. For every action or for every automation script, definitely you need to open that particular URL and you need to use close or quit. I don't want catcher to be remind. So close this, create another module for right click. So all these things are common. WebDriver, actions change. You need to do mouse operations. You need to handle mouse operations. Definitely you need to have actions change class. Very easy. You need to open that particular URL. Then after opening this particular URL, you need to right click onto this particular button. So before right clicking, you need to identify this particular button. Yes, right click here, inspect, take this and go here. And if you can see, this is having a text. And if you see, it is having class. So what I can do, I have already written that particular XPath. You can see it here. This is very easy. That particular button, nothing but right click button is having, this is the XPath. It is having span tag. It is having class attribute. For that class attribute, it is having that value, which you already know to write, how to write that particular XPath. And here comes the real picture. I need to initialize actions change class. Once upon opening this particular website, I need to perform right click mouse operation on this particular button. What I can do, I can initialize an actions variable. So actions change class, I will pass driver as a parameter. With the help of actions change class or variable, I can simulate mouse operation. Act dot, since it is right click means RC, means context click. For right click, we are having context click method in action change class. Very important. And for this context click, for every mouse operation you need to use or you need to pass element as a parameter. So button, this is the button where I want to click in the particular web page. And thereafter you need to say, you need to perform for the actions change class. You perform this action. So for that you need to perform. So you need to issue a perform command. Then let me execute this. We can see here, yes, it has opened this particular website. It has performed right click action on this particular element. So you are seeing the same options which are highlighted before, which we are doing it manually. Very important. This is what about right click. Then another important mouse operation, double click. Very easy. All these mouse operations are very easy. So before going to this, writing an automation script, go to this particular website. So whatever you do manually, you will just automate that. That's it. Here, if you see, this is a simple HTML box, and this is a text box. Nothing but whatever you write in the HTML code, that will be displayed here. Fine. I don't want to bother about HTML code and what the text here is. If you see here in the field 1, you are having hello world 1. So I want to copy the same text here in the field 2. This is what my requirement is. For copying the same text in the field 1 to field 2, I need to perform 2 click actions on this particular copy text button. So what I'm doing, I'm performing 2 text actions, 2 click actions. So upon performing 2 click actions, nothing but double clicking this particular button. It is just copying the text which is there in the field 1 and pasting it in the field 2. So this is nothing but double click action. I need to simulate the same action here. How I can simulate? By using mouse operations, and what I can do, I can use actions change class. You can go here, you can try to open that particular URL, and before that actions change class need to be imported at the very beginning. And if you observe here, this is a frame and this is a frame. These are 2 different frames. Inside the frame, you are having this particular elements and this particular button. So what you can do, you can inspect here, and if you see, this is a frame. Inside the frame, you are having field 1 and field 2 text boxes, and along with that you are having copy text button. So definitely, in order to handle frames, we need to use switch to frame method. Go here, ask the driver dot switch to dot frame. For the frame, definitely you need to pass index value if there is one frame. You can pass ID, you can pass name of the particular frame. So if you see here, the name of the frame is iframe result, or you can also pass ID. So in quotes, you can pass this. And before that, you need to use maximize browser window, and thereafter you can initialize or you can use implicit wait to handle synchronization problems. Very important. So after switching to this particular frame, what I need to do? Yes, it is already having hello world. I can use the same hello world. You can see it here after double clicking this particular button. Or if I don't want to do, what I can do, I can identify this particular field button. I can clear the text before, and I can enter the text what I want, and thereafter I can perform click action. So before going to this, do this, let me execute this one time. Yes, it has opened that particular URL, and it is about to maximize. Yes, there may be scenarios where you will face some slowness in the browsers. Don't worry. Yes, it has maximized that browser window. Then what you need to do, you need to perform click action on this particular element. Or what you can do, you can clear this text before performing the click action, and you can enter whatever the text you want by using send keys method. Thereafter you can right or double click this particular button. So the same text which you posted in the field 1 will be present in the field 2 after double clicking this. You take this as an assignment. What are the text which is highlighted at the very beginning, clear that, try to write or send your own text here and perform click action. I'm just doing whatever the text here it is there, just pasting it here with the help of double click. How I can do? So before that, what I need to do, I need to identify this particular element. If you can see here, inside the frame, I'm having this particular element. Yes, button, my function is having copy text. It is having link text, or I can say inner text. It is not a link, it is a button, sorry, and it is having inner text. You can directly use this, or you can use one double click attribute. For that, it is having my function is the value. So I have already written this, initializing a button variable, finding that particular button element. I have just specified that XPath / button and normalized space, which we have already discussed. Copy text. This is the inner text. Always normalized space is applied on inner text. That's what it is. A copy text. So thereafter, I need to initialize action variable. Act is equal to action chains of driver. I need to say to driver that you need to perform the action which I want, or the mouse operation which I want. Act dot. So since it is double click, so I need to use double click method in that particular action chains class. So for this double click, I need to pass that element which I want to perform the double click action. So this is the button which I want to perform. So button, and you need to say actions variable, hey, perform that operation. So this is what you need to do, and thereafter you can issue close command for closing the browser. Let me comment this for a while, and if you can see, let me execute this. It has opened that particular URL, and yes, we have already discussed that it may be slow sometimes. If there is any network issue, if there is any website issue, yes, you may see some slowness. Don't worry. Yes, what it has done, it has opened this particular website. There is already text in that particular field 1, and it has performed double click action or operation on this particular copy text element, and whatever the text you see in the field 1 is pasted in the field 2. I want people you to first clear this text, enter the text which you want to enter, and perform double click action. Take this as your assignment. Another important mouse operation, drag and drop. By this you will not understand anything. Let me walk through you that how we can drag and how we can drop. This is the demo website which I will be using. If you see, it is having a frame. Inside the frame you are having capitals and cities. So what you need to do, you need to just identify capitals of which city and you need to drop there. So suppose Italy having the capital of Rome. When you paste it here, it is having green color. Spain, Madrid. South Korea, Seoul. United States, Washington. Like this, what you are doing, you are just dragging, yes, just dragging and dropping to appropriate boxes. It is wrong, so it is, so that is the reason, yes. So in this way, you need to drag the element and you need to drop the element. This is a mouse operation. You are just dragging with the help of mouse and you are just dropping. Yes, what you can do, you can write an automation script with the help of actions change class for simulating this particular drag and drop operation. You are just dragging the element and you are just dropping that particular country. So go here and try to open that particular website. Try to initialize actions change class by passing driver as a parameter, and you can assign it to a variable. And another thing which you want to do is, suppose, you can close this. Suppose this is the element which I want to drag and drop it into Italy country. What I can do, I can again refresh. So anyway, you are dragging and dropping an element at the end of the day. So you need to find this element and you need to find this box where you want to drop, and you need to perform drag and drop operation. So you can identify it this way. Inspect this. You can see here you are having text, nothing but Madrid, and you are also having ID as box 7. Similarly, for Rome, you are having box 6. Similarly, for other capital cities as well. These are nothing but boxes which are having multiple attributes. Out of this, I am just to take ID attribute. So I want Rome to be dragged and dropped in Italy box, and you can inspect that Italy box as well. So Italy box is having ID attribute as box 6. So what I can do, I can identify Rome and Italy elements in this way. With the help of ID, I can identify Rome element. That Rome element is having ID attribute of box 6. And Italy element, which is a variable I have initialized as like Rome element, which is having an ID of box 106. And here comes the real picture. With the help of act variable, I need to perform drag and drop operation. So what you can do, act dot drag and drop, and you need to specify source and the target where you need to drop. This is the source, this is the element which I want to drag, and this is the target which I want to drop this particular element. So Rome element, comma, Italy box. This is source, this is target for this drag and drop method. And at last, you need to say action sales class, hey actions, perform this mouse operation. Dot perform. And at last, you can issue close command. Let me comment this for a while. What you can do here, let me execute this. Yes, it has maximized that browser window. It has dragged that particular element, dropped it into Italy box. Similarly, you can identify this particular element. You can drag an appropriate box. The same operation you can simulate in any website. You can just drag and drop. Another important mouse operation, slider. Before going to write an automation script, we will go to website so that you will get to know how we can perform manually. The same we can simulate it in the automation script. So this is a slider. So in this particular slider, This is the minimum slider and this is the maximum slider. And what you want to do, with the help of mouse, you are just dragging here and dropping in this particular place. How many pixels it has been moved, it has been showed here. Similarly, we can take this particular slider, maximum slider, with the help of mouse, you are just dropping it here. So what I am doing here, with the help of mouse, I am just dragging and dropping to somewhere, nothing but it's like a slider having some scales. That's it. Scale is nothing but how much pixel you have been moved. In the same way, how I can simulate the same sliding action which you are seeing here is nothing but a slider here with the help of action change class. How you can do that? What I can do, I can just open this particular website, right? After opening this, I can identify maximum and minimum sliders. If you see here, inside the body, inside the div, you are having span. Inside the body, you are having div. Div2. Inside div2, you are having span. So what I can do, I can write, yes, you are having body. Inside body, you are having div2. Inside div2, you are having span. Yes, you are having two spans. Like this is for maximum slider and this is for minimum slider. For minimum slider, I can specify it as 1. For maximum slider, I can specify it as 2. So I can use this XPaths. Yes. I can identify these particular elements, maximum and minimum sliders. I can assign it to a variable, minimum slider and maximum slider. Then, anyway, with the help of actions change class, you move these particular sliders. So what I want to do, before moving the sliders, I want location of sliders. At what locations they are having. So this is what, it's just a simple text statement which I will be printing. And before moving those sliders, so for getting their locations, there is one method called dot location. You need to specify that minimum slider dot location. Similarly, maximum slider dot location. What you can do, you can use print for printing those sliders values in the console panel. Print of maximum slider dot location, at which locations they are having. So they will return us pixels. Very important. Let me execute this first before applying action change class. It has opened this particular website. Yes, it has maximized, and if you can see it in the console, at the very beginning, nothing but this is the starting positions of their maximum and minimum sliders. You are having X offset as 59 and Y offset as 250. So at X is equal to 59 pixels, it is at this position, minimum slider. When you see it in the horizontal way, when you see it in the vertical way, it is at 250 pixels from top. Similarly, maximum slider also, if you see here, from left, if you see the pixels will be very more than minimum. So it is at this position. And if you see the pixel, X pixel, nothing but horizontal offset, it is at 766 position in the horizontal way, and in the vertical way, it is at 250 values or pixels away from at starting from top. And anyway, you use your mouse and you can perform the mouse sliding here. So after sliding, you need to print at which positions or at which pixels they are having. What is the location of this minimum and maximum sliders? That what you need to know. Very important. So what I will do, I will initialize act variable with the help of action change class, passing driver as a parameter, act dot. So sliding is nothing but, as we already discussed, is nothing but drag and drop operation only, but you need to specify the value of X and Y. Right now in this particular page, you will only move the slider in the horizontal way. What about the vertical way? You will not be able to move in the vertical way. So vertical offset should be 0 and horizontal offset should be some value which you want to move. But there may be some websites where you are having this particular slider in the vertical position. In that case, you cannot move horizontally. You need to specify only vertical movement value. So what I will do here, act dot drag and drop by offset, and you need to move that particular slider, minimum slider, min underscore slider to the value. I can specify the horizontal value. Suppose minimum slider is at minimum position. I want to move 100 pixels away or 100 offsets, and I don't have any vertical movement, so I have specified y offset as 0. Similarly, what you can do, act dot drag and drop by offset, and you need to specify maximum slider. So anyway, it is at the maximum position. What you can do, you can try to decrease that value, or you can try to move or decrease the slider position here in this way. So for that, what you will do, you can just specify minus 39, means it will move in the opposite direction. When you provide a plus value, it will move in the forward direction. When you specify minus here, it will move it in the reverse direction. Minimum slider should move in the positive direction only. Maximum slider should move in the negative direction. Otherwise, it will not go ahead. It will not go before minimum and maximum sliders. And you can specify y offset as 0. This is what you need to do, and thereafter at last you need to perform that particular mouse actions. Perform, very important. And what you need to do after performing this drag and drop by offset operation, or I can say sliding operation, you need to perform, or you need to see which locations that have been moved. That's what I have used here. Minimum slider dot location, maximum slider dot location, and at last you can issue close command, driver dot close. Let me comment this and let me execute this. Very easy. Mouse actions, very tricky. You need to just by heart that. That's it. Yes. If you see here, minimum and maximum slider positions have been changed. And at the very beginning, they are having this particular x and y values. And after moving so and so pixels or offset, it is having these values. You are just decreasing 39 from this. You are just adding 100 for this. The same appropriate values have been printed in the console. In this way, you can slide. If it is a scale, having a range. Then another important mouse operation, scrolling. Scrolling is very, very important. Scrolling. Scrolling, what you will do, you will go to any web page, at last you will do scrolling operation with the help of mouse. If the content is large, this browser itself enables scrolling if you are having large content on the web page. So you can't inspect anything on this particular sliding or scrolling element. So what you can do, how you can perform? Very important interview question. To handle scrolling operations, you need to perform JavaScript statements. So you can take any website, not only the website which I am trying to show you. You can take any website and you can perform the same action. Very important. If you can see here, this is the web page and the content is very large, so the scrolling option has been enabled. And how you can scroll with the help of JavaScript commands. So for everything, if you want to simulate mouse operation, you need actions change class. And for this, specially for scrolling, with the help of actions change and with the help of JavaScript statements, I can perform. And if you can see here, I have just imported time, yes, to make you understand what is the transition which you will be doing. And this is the website which I will be opening, the same website which you are seeing here. I'm just opening, and I have initialized act variable with the help of actions change class. And let me execute this. Let us see whether it is asking for any captcha or not. So yes, it is asking for captcha. What you can do, you can just click that just for a while. And if you can see, this particular page has been landed. But this is not acceptable. Every time when the website is open, it is asking for captcha, or it is checking whether it is, or you are not a robot or not. Will not be clicking all the times. But you can perform the same action on another website. Let me take another website for your understanding. Very important. Let me take the previous websites which I will be using. This is the slider. What you can do, you can take this particular web page. Yes, it is also having less content. And if you can see, let me take this W3 schools. Yes, or you can try to take eBay only, ebay.com. Inside this ebay.com, if you see, when a web page is loaded, it is the home page of this particular page. And I want to scroll until unless I see this particular link. So what I can do, I can use this particular ebay.com. Then I will perform scrolling action. Which scrolling action? Until unless my element is present. You can take that Twitter element, Twitter underscore element. This is the element which I want to see. Driver dot find element by dot. We can see what are the attributes it is having. So let me inspect this, and if you can see, go here, and if you can see, it is having, it is a link. It is having a link text of Twitter. So what I can do, I can just go here and with the help of selector sub, I can write or I can copy the text path. You can write your own or you can use your tools, but at the interviews, don't repeat this. You have to write on your own. That's it. Y dot xpath, and you can see it here. And this is the element which I want to see after scrolling. Very important. Then how you can scroll until unless this element is visible. Yes, I can simulate the same action with the help of actions change class. How I can? So act dot, you can use scroll to element, not scroll by amount, scroll to element, and you can specify that element here, Twitter element. So let me execute this. Yes, if you can see here, it has opened that particular website and it has to perform scrolling action. Yes. Why it has not performed? The thing is, you need to issue dot perform command. You need to say that action change class, hey, perform this particular scrolling operation. You need to say. I missed to do so, so that is the reason why it has not performed that scrolling action. Let me close this. Let me execute this one more time. And if you can see here, it has scrolled up to Twitter. So in this way, if you miss to use perform, it will not be able to perform actions, or it will not be able to simulate mouse operations. Then my another requirement is, so with the help of actions change class, you can perform the scroll operation until unless you see that particular element which you want to perform any action on that. And there is another methods in the actions change class only. Instead of JavaScript statements, which is a recent thing in the actions change class, you can use scroll by amount. You can specify that amount here. How much amount you need to move. Delta X and delta Y. Right now we have seen scroll to amount. You can scroll from origin as well. You can use these particular methods as per your requirement. Very important. But those are not frequently used. They are not at all used. So instead of that, we will use JavaScript statements. So this is nothing but scrolling down the page until element is visible. Yes, you have scrolled down to page until that particular Twitter element, which is nothing but a link, is visible. Now, my requirement is I want to scroll with the value which I mentioned. Yes, for scrolling, definitely you need to use JavaScript statements. Very important interview question. Driver dot execute script. Driver dot execute script. Execute script is nothing but you will execute some JavaScript statements. So what is the JavaScript statement? Suppose if I want to move by 3000 pixels, suppose this is a website. If I want to move some 3000 pixels on some so and so value or so and so value pixels, you can specify that value here. If you can see here, let me comment this, and I can issue a JavaScript statement here. Window dot scroll by, and you need to specify x offset and y offset. If you can see here, we'll only move in the vertical direction, not in the horizontal direction. So that is the reason why I have specified 0 here. You can specify that y offset here. And thereafter, time dot sleep. Just wait for 3 seconds. From the starting position, you have moved some 3000 pixels. Yes. And I want, after moving to 3000 pixels, again you move to same position. So for that, what I will do, I will specify minus 3000 here. That same action you will be seeing here. So right click and run scrolling. Yes, if you see here, it has moved to end of the page, the 3000 pixels, and thereafter, after 3 seconds, it has moved to beginning of the page. In this way, you can simulate scrolling. What is scrolling? When the content of the web page is large, the browser itself enables scrolling option. You can just specify that pixel what or how much you want to move. Or instead of 3000, even though I don't know how much pixel I can specify, what you can do, instead of the static value, you can use dynamic value. Like web page is nothing but a document. It is having a body. You just scroll from top to bottom, entire whole body. You just scroll like that. You are just specifying here. You just comment this, and you can take this instead of this negative value. What you can do, you can specify minus here. It will move from top to bottom. It will move from bottom to top. Right click and run scrolling. And even there are a lot of things which I specified in my material. Please go and practice what are the things which you have. Yes, if you see here, it has scrolled down and it has moved again. Let me execute one more time. Yes, scroll down, scrolled up. You can specify the pixel value statically or dynamically. You can use this particular command, document.body.scroll height. Very easy, very important. Up to now, we have seen mouse operations. Right now, we will discuss keyboard operations. So what are all the keyboard operations which we will perform in our daily life? See, before going to that, what is a keyboard action? It is nothing but representation of user inputs from input device. Key input device is nothing but keyboard and facilitating interaction with a web page. Yes, you are using your keyboard as well as your mouse to interact with any web element in the web page. Then go to this particular demo website. If you can see here, this is having a text boxes like current address and permanent address text boxes. And my requirement is I want to enter my current address and I want to copy, nothing but pressing Control C. Before pressing Control C, you need to perform Control A for selecting all the text here. That's what we simulate in general with the help of keyboard. For selecting all the text, you need to use Control A. And first Control A, next Control C, then thereafter I need to move to permanent address box. How I can move? I am currently there in the current address box. If you perform tab key, if you click on tab key in your keyboard, it will move to permanent address. Or what you can do, you can take your mouse and you can scroll here and you can perform click action. But that we have already seen. Take that action as your assignment. But right now it is some different scenario. Currently you are there here in the current address. When you click on tab button in your keyboard, it will navigate to permanent address box. How we can simulate this? And after navigating to permanent address box, I need to paste whatever I copied here. Control V. Like, let me try to simulate manually. So I have I have already typed the address in the current address box. Thereafter, I'm just selecting Control A, nothing but Control A. I'm just pressing Control C, just pressing Tab. Yes, it has moved to permanent address, and just pressing Control V here. These are the operations which I have done. Control A, Control C, Tab, Control V. How I can simulate the same? with the help of automation script. So before going to this, you can identify this particular current address and permanent address text boxes. Yes, if you see here, current address text box is having text area is the attribute, and it is having ID as current address. Similarly, for the permanent address, it is having ID as permanent address. What I can do with the help of IDs, I can identify that particular elements. Keyboard actions. Let me create a Python file of keyboard actions. And if you see here, in this particular website, I have permanent address text box, which are having attributes ID. For that ID attribute, you are having permanent address as the value. Similarly, current address. You will simulate what are the actions which we have done here with the help of action change class and with the help of keys, because you need to import keys because you are just interacting with this particular web page with the help of keys. Instead of mouse, what you are doing, you are just using your keyboard and you are just simulating copy, paste, and selecting all operations. So you are just interacting with the help of keyboard. Keyboard is having keys. So that is the reason why you need to import keys. In the Selenium WebDriver only, you are also having keys class like action change class. Very important. Before going to do any operations, what we can do, let me execute this so that we can get to know whether it is properly opening or not. Yes, if you see here, it has properly opened. Now, another important thing. In the current address, I need to send some text. This is the text. Yes, I already found the current address dot send text. What is the text which I want to pass? Like some random text also you can try to pass. But right now here I'm just using this some random text, and thereafter in the same text box only, first action what you need to do is you need to press Ctrl plus A in the keyboard. So what you can do here, you have already initialized an actions variable. With the help of actions variable, nothing but actions class, you will send keys to this actions change class. How you can send? So with the help of act variable, act dot key down. Key down is nothing but pressing the key. You are pressing some key, nothing but down. Nothing but pressing that key. Key down is nothing but pressing the key. Which key you are just pressing? In the keys, you are having control. Yes, keys down. You are just pressing control key. In the keys, you are having control button and you are just pressing down. Nothing but clicking that control button. Nothing but pressing. And thereafter, what you need to do? You need to send dot send. Sorry, you need to be very careful when you are using capital and lowercase letters. Dot send keys. What you need to do? You need to send A, because you are just simulating control A action. Nothing but selecting all. Then after selecting, you need to use key up. In the keys, you are having control, and you need to say to this actions variable dot perform. You just perform these actions. Perform this action. That's it. You need to say to action driver or action change class. What you are doing here, you are just simulating control A operation. Just pressing control key and sending A. Like you are just simulating control A operation. Yes. Thereafter, what I need to do, I need to simulate control C operation. You have selected like this, control A. Thereafter, what I need to do, I need to press control C on the keyboard. So that is the reason why you have sent control C here. Instead of A, you have just specified C. Yes, you have selected all and you have copied. Thereafter, another keyboard action, what I need to do, I am here right now and I need to press tab button on my keyboard. Yes, once I press the tab button, it has highlighted to this permanent address box. So what you can do, you can send tab key here, act dot send keys. In the keys, you are having tab button and you can ask action change class to perform that action. And thereafter, Control A, Control C, you have performed the tab so that it has moved to permanent address box. Then what you need to do, once it is there at the permanent address box, you need to paste that. For pasting in the keyboard, what you will do, you will use Control V. Instead of C or A, you need to use V. Let us see here how it selects all, copies and pastes. Yes, if you see here, it has entered the text, selected, copied internally, pressed on tab button, and it has pasted into this particular text box. So in this way, you can interact. And sometimes this particular box, permanent address box, will be there at last. So what you can do, in that conditions, you can try to use scroll option in the action change class. You can specify the amount to be scrolled. Control X, let me paste it here. So rect of y means it will try to get y offset, and nothing but for the current address, it is having some y offset. So just to say, you just scroll by that amount. So you can use this. If it is at even below this particular add, or if there is some more elements added in the future, there may be a chance it may move to some down position. So in that case, you can scroll until unless that element is visible. Scroll by amount you can use here. So it has performed Control A operation after sending the text into that particular text box, copied, performed Control V, nothing but paste operation. In this way, you can simulate keyboard actions. And at last, very important, yes, it has already entered some text, but what is the proof? So in order to check whether it has properly entered or not, in the current address text box, you are having value attribute. Similarly, in the permanent address text box, you are having value attribute. Means whatever the value you enter here, the same value will be shown. If you can inspect this, it is the text area. And inside the text, you are just entering that value, nothing but you can get that value by using value attribute directly. And in the permanent address also, you are having the same text. So you can fetch that value in that particular text box by using get attribute value. You can specify that value attribute here. Even though if you not seen it here, you can get that. It's a direct way to get the value of that particular text box. That's it. Even though if you don't see any value attribute here, you can just specify text box is having some attribute value. I mean value. You need to see that value. You can just issue get attribute value command here. So if you see here, let me execute one more time. Yes, it has scrolled to current address. I mean, you can see it here. It has entered the text, copied, pasted on a high level. Yes, it is equal. The value which is in the current address text box and the permanent address text box is same. So that is the reason there is no error here. It is just asserting, checking. Assert means checking whether values are equal or not. If it copies correctly, then values can be equal. So that is the reason it is equal. So that is the reason why it has not printed any error here. Assert has been passed. So at last you can issue driver dot close command. This is what about double click, right click, keyboard actions, mouse actions, etc.